Was there anything in between?
He was waiting for you because you were talking and because he hadn't announced it, the DJ didn't play the music, which people mean can't walk.
We were talking about the thumbs up and we were then talking.
Our first boxing bout of the night about to begin. You'll notice the gloves being larger than previous. There's also no grappling exchanges, just punches to the upper part of the body.
Ooh, opening up some big punches.
Immediately very heavy strikes. The opponent needs to defend himself more clearly.
When he's opening up with big punches like that, it leaves him very susceptible to counters.
It does, it's just whether his opponent sees it. A big left hand there. Body shots from the southpaw. Runs into a big jab there. More body shots. You've seen the fight slow down a lot more now, aren't you, Jack?
Yeah, the pace of the fight has slowed down and the ref has broken up clinch here, get them back out into the centre of the cage. Obviously, your first line of offense and defense in boxing is the jab, and you need to use that as a platform to build your exchanges and your counters.
As we've discussed with the opposite stances, though, it's more difficult to get that jab going when you're in opposite stance. A big lead right hook there from the young man in the grey Converse shorts. A lot of wild exchanges in this one, aren't there, Jack?
Wide exchanges, lots of hooks, not a lot of jabs thus far.
It would be nice for a tempo to build in this fight, get the fighters more relaxed and get a steady pace of boxing going on. It feels like they've both tried to land big strikes. In these white collar events with the big 16-ounce gloves, you can take a lot more punches without becoming concussed or damaged. So you really need to pace yourself. You can find yourself getting very tired very quickly.
That's the end of the first round. Be interesting to see how the pace of the fight is different in the second round. Now both fighters have loosened up, perhaps getting a little bit of an adrenaline dump, so we might see the pace lower.
Shout out to the cornermen Hayden Maldispiva and Umair, both very experienced in martial arts. Hayden being a high-level amateur MMA fighter himself, he's also very experienced in the striking arts. A reset there from our referee, Simon Roycroft.
Ooh,
big right hand.
Big.
These fighters really do keep getting into that clinch. Clinch is not permitted in boxing in terms of striking and fighting out of it. So that's why you'll see our referee Simon Roycroft breaking that up. As soon as they clinch, it sort of nullifies any formal exchanges.
Exactly, there is no form of holding and hitting allowed like you might see in bare knuckle boxing or MMA or Thai boxing.
Fighters having a little laugh, a little exchange of words there. They're enjoying themselves, aren't they?
And that's a pleasure to see.
Looking a little more measured now, aren't they, Jack? Now that adrenaline dump's happened, they're looking a little more composed, trying to pick their shots.
In that previous exchange, we saw the classic example of orthodox against southpaw in boxing, where the front feet collide. That's why it's so hard to land your jab, because you're having to jab over the opponent's front shoulder.
Bit of gamesmanship here. It can play with the fighter's head. If you've got your opponent dancing in front of you and smiling at you, it can really take it out of you psychologically. You think, why am I so tired? My opponent's dancing in front of me. Am I really good enough for this? It can really play with you. But I think they're both very game for this fight, aren't they, Jack?
They certainly are, and it's a pleasure to see.
Strike to the back of the head there. Simon resets the fighters. And with that, you have the end of the second round. Anything you're looking to see here, Jack, in the third round? It seems very, very tight, close fight. Both fighters landing excessively. Not much defense going on. I know boxing rule set's slightly different than MMA. MMA, you score damage primarily. Boxing favours a lot of defense, a lot of intelligent defense, slipping shots, taking them on the gloves and returning counters. So it'd be nice to see these fighters calm down and utilise a little more defense and counter striking, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly. If your opponent isn't using the jab to set things up, it does make their attacks a little more predictable. You know, both are standing in that long bladed stance, typical of boxing, looking ready to throw the overhand, where if you line up a nice hook, you can really deal some damage.
Our third round begins.
Oh, nice jab to open the round.
Both fighters landing well there in that exchange. The red corner fighter in our black trunks used a little bit of footwork and a bit of a feint there, didn't he, Jack? Maybe that's some instruction there from Hayden, his cornerman, trying to get him to be a bit more technical in this third round.
Yeah, he was looking for a pullback counter. It's very nice to see if your opponent is ring cutting towards you.
Reset there. Young man in the black shorts seems a little fresher than his opponent, wouldn't you say? Landed a big right hand as well.
Nice
He's unloading and counters.
Needs to keep up our pace. He's seeming fresher than his opponent.
He seems to be forcing the punches though, doesn't he? Enforcing exchanges and getting caught in a clinch. He needs to keep some more distance to land some strikes. That's both fighters really. They're both running into each other and really nullifying their work.
That's right, Sam. They are certainly bringing a sense of urgency into this final round.
It'd be nice if they could take a breath and pace themselves and really try and land some cleaner punches. You're just seeing repeated clinches that Simon, the referee, is having to break up and not much damage being scored. An unusual little roll there, wasn't it?
Looked like it was going for a duck under.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a dolphin dive or something.
Ooh, some nice left hooks to the body. Not been a great deal of body work in this fight, so it's nice to see that, particularly against a more tired opponent.
And that concludes this boxing bout. We'll hand you over to the judges. A nice embrace there between the two competitors. A good show of respect. Always good to see after a hard fight.
By split decision, fighting out of the red corner, Shaun Smith!
Shaun Smith, your winner there. A very close fight. A lot of wild exchanges.